Hello, witchlings. It's Lorelai. I'm back. I am in the middle of doing my YouTube witchy tag questions. I got this from Alvine. I already did a first video, which was questions 1 through 7. Now I'm going to be doing questions 8 through 17. I'm just kind of going down the line, but I wanted to split it up because I know I'm a talker and I don't want you to have to suffer through an hour-long video to get all these 30 questions. Like, if you just want to jump to a spot, jump to that video or something. I'm also not as tech savvy as some other people on YouTube are, so I'm still trying to figure out like all the other stuff. Yeah, so I'll get there. But for now, we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way. All right, so witchy tag questions. Number 8, ocho. What's something you wish someone told you or something you wish you knew when you first started? I wish, I don't know. I had some really good people around me when I first started. Unfortunately, I'm not actually involved with them anymore, but for the place that I was in, for the place in life and place in my spirituality that I was in, they were really good for that. I got a lot of foundation base stuff from a few key people when I first started looking into this path. So I don't know. Let me see. What's if I can't really answer that question, let's change it. What's something that someone told me that I'm glad they told me? Okay, so I think I can answer that. When I first started looking into this path, honestly, and this is probably the thing that started me going, oh, really? I was really glad that someone explained to me in a non-judgy, non-condescending way what magic was. Because I was coming from the outside, I had no idea. I mean, like, I was like, what's magic? You pull a rabbit out of a hat? Like, what are you doing? Boil, you know, double bubble, toil and trouble, you know, like, what are you freaking doing with that? And I was over at a friend's house, and I knew she was pagan, I knew she was witch. Her and her husband are both pagan. And they had just moved, and we were just kind of like going over there to like hang out, see their house and that kind of thing. And they'd set up this bookshelf. It was a bookshelf, and it had some of their witchy tools and stuff on it. And I mean, they're out, they're not hiding anything. They knew at the time, I mean, at the time I was Christian, they knew that, but they also knew that I wasn't like judgy about it. I had gotten past that in high school, and I was just like, okay, whatever. And I was just curious, and I think they understood that. And so I asked them, I was like, I'm not trying to be offensive or anything, I'm just trying to understand. I was like, what do you use the cauldron for? You know, they had this cauldron on their bookshelf, and I'm like, that's not even big enough to really like brew a potion in or something. Like, what do you do with that? And the husband took that as an opportunity to educate me in the most humble, amazing way I think he could have. I mean, he wasn't judgy at all. He was amazing. I'm gonna cry thinking about it because he was so nice about it. And I've never had a Christian be this nice to me, honestly. Anyway, so he took the cauldron off the bookshelf, and he said, well, it's a fire-safe vessel. And I'm like, okay, so what would you do with it? He said, okay, so if I want to do a spell, I might do a spell in it. I'm like, okay, but what's a spell to you? You know, how is this spiritual? How does, like, explain this to me? So he said, okay, let me give you an example. Let's say that you have a petition. You want something, you're asking for something, whatever it is. You write it on a piece of paper and you might burn it. You need a fire-safe vessel to burn it and you really don't want to burn your house down. So you might burn it, light it on fire, drop it in the cauldron. It burns up without, you know, anything else catching on fire. And as it burns up, the smoke, you imagine and you visualize that the smoke is taking your, oh my gosh, that's a rainbow. I'm sorry, squirrel. It's a beautiful rainbow. Like, I'm looking at my window. Anyway, and he says, you imagine the smoke, you know, taking your petition up to God. And I'm like, that's beautiful. And I did that at church camp. Oh my God. So that's kind of how he explained magic to me. And I was like, wait, you're telling me I've been doing magic like all my life? He was like, yeah, magic is just a tool to help you. I'm like, oh. He was like, yeah, you know how you pray, you talk to God? I was like, yeah. He was like, that's a spell. It's magic. It's like, okay, cool. So I'm really glad that I had someone there to explain that to me. I'm really glad that he was so non-judgmental about it. He was just, yeah, here it is. I'm gonna share it with you. Do with it what you want, you know, like it was amazing. So yeah. Okay. Number 9. What resource was the most valuable for you when you were beginning your practice? What about now? Okay. Resource was most valuable for you when you were beginning your practice. YouTube. YouTube and books. I bought so many freaking books. I'm not even kidding. I watched so many YouTube videos. There was one YouTube channel that I watched so much, and I don't know that she still has her channel. It was back in 2011, so like, I kind of left YouTube for a little bit and came back, so, I'll try to find it. I'll link it if I find it. And then I had 2 or 3 close friends that really kind of took me under their wing. They're pagan. They took me under their wing. They kind of taught me what they knew. They introduced me to certain things. They took me to witchy shops. It was so exciting. And they just, I mean, that was nice too. So I think those were probably my most valuable resources. Now I think my most valuable resource is books on the internet, YouTube, just kind of, yeah, that's, yeah, I don't know, I can't go on with that. Number 10, what was your first spell and was it successful? My first spell was a dream home spell. I had found a house. My husband and I were buying our first house. I had found one. It was a short sale, so I knew it was gonna be a long time before I heard. But I really wanted this house, really bad. And it was like, oh my God, it was amazing. It was like model home looking, but I mean, it was, it was 6 years old at the time, 6 or 7 years old. 5, 6. Anyway, it's built in 2007. We were buying it in 2012, 2013. And yes, it took me that long to do my first spell. I started like studying and walking this path in 2011, and I didn't do my first spell until the end of 2012. Like December of 2012, January of 2013. Like, I'm telling you, like, yeah. Anyway, I had a friend. I told her I wanted to do this spell. I told her I was nervous. She said, come over to my house, we'll do it together. And I was like, okay. So I got all my stuff together. It was a candle spell. I I want to say we did a full ritual, but we didn't. We like did like a sort of half ritual. We drew the circle. We invoked goddess. We chanted. We built up a cone of power. We did the spell. We released our cone of power. We, you know, opened the circle, all that kind of stuff. But it was like, it was the most involved I'd ever done something. I'd basically just been like studying and reading about it up until then. And yes, it was successful. We got the house. The bank approved it. I heard in April, I think. We closed at the end of May. And we moved in beginning of June of 2013. This is not the house. I don't live there anymore. It was a wonderful house for three years. What we didn't realize before we moved in was that the kitchen was way too small, but I didn't know that. I just couldn't cook in it. It was ridiculously small. So we ended up building a house. And I love my little house. It's not a tiny house. I wanted a tiny house. My husband was like, I knew. So this was my compromise. It's small compared to the average house size in my area, but it's still full house size. It's 1,200 square feet. So enough about that. Yes, it was successful. It was amazing. And yeah. Number 11, what do you do when you feel out of touch with your craft? This is a really good one because it was just a little bit ago that I was feeling really out of touch with my craft. And you know what I did? I started reading again. I started reading. I started watching YouTube videos again. I started creating a book of shadows again. I just started getting involved with my spirituality again and focusing on it and doing little things here and there that I can do. That's pretty much it. I started reading The Spiral Dance by Starhawk. I'd had it on my bookshelf for years and just hadn't ever read it. So I've started reading that. I'm still not through it. I'm just kind of reading it here and there. I really like it, but it really started getting me thinking. I was like, wow. And then I started watching YouTube videos, and I watched this video about rocking your book of shadows and your grimoire and just going and doing it. And that's always been something that's kept me from, you know, finishing a book of shadows is, oh God, I'm gonna mess it up. I'm gonna screw it up. And so I just did it. And I'm loving my book of shadows right now. I don't call it a book of shadows. I mean, I'm calling it that now, but that's for you guys to understand. It's called my Apocrypha. And I have a whole video about my Apocrypha. Then I talk about why I call it an Apocrypha. Blah, 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 blah. Go watch that video. So yeah. That's what I do when I feel out of touch with my craft. Number 12. Have you ever doubted your faith or ability? Abso-friggin-lutely. Kind of a lot, actually. I doubt my faith all the time. Like I said in my last video, questions 1 through 8, at one point, I talked about how I'm struggling with keeping, nurturing a relationship with deity. Yeah, I'm doubting my faith big time. Working through it. I think the key is to not give up. You can doubt all you want as long as you don't give up. Number 13. What are some grounding techniques that you found work for you? This is great because I have anxiety, and so grounding techniques are the shit. I'm just saying. So, grounding techniques that work for me. I sit on my little bony butt and across my legs, and I close my eyes and I breathe deeply and And then I imagine, I do a centering exercise where I imagine all this excess energy from around my body gathering in a ball or a sphere that's spinning in my core. And once I can clearly visualize and clearly see and feel that ball of energy in my core, I shove it down through my sacral chakra into the ground, like through the floor. If I'm sitting inside, through the floor, and I think about it like it's got to go through the floor. It's got to go through the concrete foundation of my house and into the ground, and it spreads out into like roots and tendrils. And then once I feel like I've got a good grasp on the earth, I start bringing up earth energy into my body. And I kind of think about it as in like pushing out the bad well, not bad, but pushing out the negative, pushing out the pollution, pushing out anything that doesn't serve me, and bringing in this pure earth energy and revitalizing myself and rejuvenating myself. And that really, really helps me. Visualization helps me. People talk about, you know, if you go on YouTube and you look up like how to meditate, basic how to meditate, a lot of times they're like, oh, empty your mind and just let the thoughts come and just kind of observe them and say, yep, it's there, and just let it go. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I cannot do that. I can't do it. I don't know if it's because if it's because of my anxiety. I don't know if it's because I'm OCD. I don't know if it's any of that stuff. But I can't do it. If I have a thought, I cannot let it go. If it pops into my head that I have not fed the dogs yet, I am sorry. I'm gonna get up. Stop trying to meditate. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go feed the dogs. Because otherwise I forget. And I don't want my dogs to starve. I'm a little crazy, it's okay. But it helps me. Meditation works for me if I have something to focus on. Because if I'm focusing on a visualization, then I'm not thinking about how I forgot to feed the dogs. Okay, like that's how meditation helps me, if I focus on something else. So I have to have something to focus on. I have to have something to focus on. So that's what helps me. I will also do a meditation, and that's actually how I start any astral projection kind of meditation, is doing that. And then actually I will bring that energy back up. Like I keep my roots, but I still bring up this energy from the earth, and I actually bring the energy up through all of my chakras, out of my head. Most of the times actually my arms will actually raise, and I have branches sprouting out of my head. I mean, energetic branches, obviously, but yeah, branches. And I become a tree, visually. You know, my visualization, I become a tree. And the branches reach up to whatever is out there. And a lot of times that's actually, once I've fully visualized myself as a tree, my consciousness can actually, because I feel grounded, I feel rooted, my consciousness can actually kind of go and play, because I know my body is safe. So yeah. All right, moving on. 14. Number 14. What's your biggest pet peeve in the magical community? My biggest pet peeve is really not that big of a pet peeve anymore, because I feel like it's gotten better. When I first started down this path in 2011, oh my God, my biggest pet peeve was that people were telling me, you can't be a Christian witch. You're a walking oxymoron. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. Bullshit. I can do whatever I want. So there. That was my biggest pet peeve. I cannot stand it when people tell you what you can and can't believe. Like, I'm sorry. Who died and made you in charge? Who died and made you my consciousness? Who died and made you God? That actually, no, that's a tangent. Not going down there. Another video. If you want to know what that story is, just comment and I'll make another video about it. It's from Christian days. Anyway. Yeah, biggest pet peeve is people telling you what you can and can't do in the pagan community, in your spirituality, in your religion, in anything. Don't tell me what I can and can't do, because I'll go do it anyway, because I'm a rebel. Hush your face. Okay. Number 15. What was your biggest spell disaster? I don't have one. Sorry. I mean, I'm sure I have one, but I don't know about it. I actually don't do a lot of spells, guys. I know, I'm such a fraud. Yeah, I don't do a lot of spells. I'm more like study and explore, and I'm more of like a philosophical witch rather than a practical witch. I'd like to be more of a practical witch, but I feel like I'm more of a philosophical witch. I hope that makes sense. Number 16, what is your view on black magic? Everything in moderation. I know that sounds weird. One of my, and I'll get to this probably in another video, and because it's like the last question, I think, but one of my favorite symbols is the yin yang, or justice's scales. I believe in balance. Big time balance. Okay? Harm to none but give no shit. Take no shit. Whatever. I believe in being a good person. Okay? I believe in being a good person. Try not to harm others. Do everything you can to not harm others. Don't go away, don't go against anyone else's free will. Don't do spells on somebody else if they didn't ask for it. Just like I would never, hate it when people are like, I'll pray for you. I didn't ask for you to pray for me, okay, honey? Don't do so. I mean, because yes, you can have great intentions, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I'm sorry, Christian reference, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. All right. So I try to focus on what can I do for me. If someone else asks me to do something, if someone else says, hey, will you send me some positive energy? Will you do this? Will you do that? Yes, absolutely. But if a friend of mine is having a hard time, I'm not going to go on there and just be like, sending you positive vibes. I don't know what they want. I don't know. I mean, especially if they don't believe the same thing I do. They don't want my positive vibes. My positive vibes don't vibe with them. We're on two different wavelengths here. So I might ask them, hey, do you want me to pray for you? Do you want me to send you positive energy? How can I help? I ask permission. Ask permission, guys. But if someone's attacking you, if someone is being a jackass, don't take their shit. Don't just lie over. Don't just turn over and you know, that's the one thing that I get it, but I don't get it. The whole like Christian idea of turn the other cheek. If you slap me in the face, I'm walking away. I'm not turning the other cheek and let you slap it again. Are you kidding me? I'm smarter than that. I'm not taking the abuse. I'm not stupid. Okay. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now because I feel like I'm getting worked up. And my view of black magic is everything in moderation. Don't be a jackass. Don't be a bitch. Don't be evil. Don't just like do nasty things to be nasty. Okay? Yeah. And last one for this video, number 17, Is witchcraft an everyday thing, or is it only for special occasions? Both. I think it's an everyday thing. I would love to practice my witchcraft every single day. Unfortunately, I don't have that many ideas. There are things that I try and do. I like to light some incense. I like to read something. I like to watch a YouTube video here and there to keep myself kind of in that witchy frame of mind. But I also don't do like full on ritual every freaking day, you know? Like I will get out and really set up like a really special spell or a special ritual or something like that on a Sabbath or an Esbot or something like that. But I'm not gonna do that every day. Do little things here and there. So both for me. All right, I will see you guys next time, because this is seriously, at the end of this, it's gonna be like friggin' 100 minutes. Okay, sorry, this is why I'm splitting it up into multiple videos. So that's it for now. Next time I will be doing numbers 18 through 25. Till then.